Most people don't realize it, but there's a silent addiction running through their relationships. Not to attention, not to love, but to being understood. You explain your mood, your silence, your boundaries, and it feels kind, like empathy, like you're being considerate. But Carl Jung saw the truth. It's not kindness, it's fear. Every time you rush to justify why you're tired, why you left, or why you changed your mind, you're not being polite. You're whispering, "Please don't leave me for being me." And that is self-abandonment in disguise. Jung called it a symptom of disconnection from the self, the deepest, most authentic core of who you are. Not the mask you wear for others, not the role you play to be accepted, but the quiet, steady presence beneath all the noise, the part of you that knows what is true, even when the world disagrees. Think back for a moment. When did you first learn that your feelings needed permission to exist? Was it when you cried as a child and were told, "You're being dramatic"? When you said, "I don't feel safe here," and someone laughed and said, "You're too sensitive"? When you set a boundary with a friend and they called you cold or distant? That's where the wound formed. Not in one dramatic event, but in 1,000 small moments of emotional invalidation, where your inner world was treated as inconvenient, irrational, or simply wrong. And so, to survive, you learned a new language. You stopped saying, "These hurts," and started saying, "I'm just tired." You stopped saying, "I need space," and started saying, "I've been busy." You stopped saying no and started saying, "Maybe later." You didn't do this because you were weak. You did it because you were wise, in the way children are wise. You adapted to stay connected, to avoid abandonment, to keep the fragile peace. But over time, that survival strategy became a cage. Now, as an adult, you carry that same pattern into every relationship. You over-explain your emotions like you're on trial. You justify your boundaries like you're asking for a favor. You even apologize for existing too loudly, too quietly, or too differently. And it all stems from one hidden belief, buried so deep you don't even know you believe it. My truth only matters if others approve of it. Jung understood this better than anyone. He saw that compulsive self-explanation is not a sign of empathy. It's a symptom of a fractured self. It's the ego, that anxious, performance-driven part of you, desperately trying to control how others see you so you can feel safe. But here's what no one tells you. As long as you need others to understand you, to feel valid, you are not free. Because every explanation is a quiet surrender. I'll shrink myself, so you'll stay. And that surrender has a cost. It costs you your intuition, because you stop listening to your gut and start listening to what others might think. It costs you your authenticity, because you filter your truth through the lens of acceptability. It costs you your energy, because you're constantly rehearsing justifications in your head, even when no one asked for them. Gradually, you stop living for yourself and start performing for an audience that may not even be paying attention. But what happens when you stop? Not out of anger, not out of rebellion, but out of integrity? The moment you let your nose stand without apology, The moment you refuse to translate your sadness into, "I'm just stressed," the moment you choose silence over explanation, everything shifts. Your psyche straightens, your presence deepens, and the people around you, they don't just notice, they panic. Because your silence breaks the spell. It says, "I no longer need your permission to exist." And that is terrifying to anyone who benefited from your insecurity. Think about it. The manipulator who counted on your guilt. The friend who only liked you when you were easy. The family member who needed you to be the strong one. The partner who loved your compliance more than your truth. Your silence destabilizes them, not because you're attacking them, but because you've stopped playing the role they assigned you. Jung knew this was the heart of individuation, the lifelong process of becoming who you truly are, not who others need you to be. And he warned, this path requires courage, because it means walking through the desert of inner solitude, where the only voice that matters is your own. But here's the beautiful paradox. The more you stop explaining yourself, the more respect you attract. Not from everyone, but from the right people. Because there is something magnetic about a person who feels no need to justify their existence. They don't argue, they don't defend, they simply are. And that presence commands a different kind of attention. Not based on fear or obligation, but on mutual respect. So, let's get practical for a moment. What does it actually look like to stop explaining yourself in daily life? It looks like saying, "I can't make it," without listing 5 reasons why. Wearing what you love, even if someone calls it too much. Ending a draining conversation without justifying your exit. Feeling sad, angry, or confused, and not needing to fix it for others' comfort. It's not about being rude. It's about refusing to betray yourself to keep others comfortable. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first. The part of you that learned to please will scream, "But what if they think I'm selfish? What if they leave?" But that's the wound speaking, not the truth. The truth is, the right people won't leave. They'll breathe a sigh of relief because they finally get to see the real you. Now, let's go deeper. Why is this so hard for so many people, especially empaths, highly sensitive people, and those raised in emotionally chaotic or invalidating homes? Because for you, connection equals safety. And to lose connection feels like death. So you overgive, you over-explain, you apologize, all in the name of keeping the peace. But Jung saw this as a form of psychological slavery. You trade your autonomy for the illusion of belonging. And the tragedy is you never truly belonged because they didn't love you. They loved the version of you that was easy to control. True belonging, the kind Jung called individuated connection, only happens when 2 whole people meet as they are. No masks, no justifications, just presence. So how do you build that internal authority? It starts with a daily practice. Stop asking, will they understand? Start asking, is this true for me? When you feel an impulse to explain yourself, pause, ask, am I doing this to be kind or to avoid rejection? If it's the latter, choose silence instead. That silence isn't emptiness, it's fullness, It's the space where you finally get to breathe. And over time, that silence becomes your greatest strength. Because when you stop outsourcing your worth, something miraculous happens. You start to trust yourself. You stop second-guessing your feelings. You stop doubting your intuition. You stop needing evidence to prove that what you feel is valid. You just know. That's psychological integrity, the state of being whole, coherent, and aligned. Not perfect, just honest. And Jung believed this was the highest expression of the human spirit. Now, here's something no one talks about. When you stop explaining yourself, your body changes. Your shoulders drop, your breath deepens, your voice becomes calmer, steadier, because you're no longer carrying the weight of other people's opinions. You're no longer tense in anticipation of judgment. You're free, and that freedom radiates. People feel it, even if they can't name it. They might say, You've changed, and you have. You've come home to yourself. But be prepared. Not everyone will celebrate your wholeness. Some will call you cold, distant, or selfish. But that's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of their loss of control. And that's okay, because real relationships don't require performance. They require presence. So I want to leave you with this. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your feelings. You don't owe anyone justification for your boundaries. You don't owe anyone a performance of who you should be. You only owe it to yourself to be real. And the world needs your realness more than it needs your compliance. So ask yourself right now, what's the one thing I keep explaining that I'm ready to stop justifying? Maybe it's your need for solitude. Maybe it's your refusal to forgive too quickly. Maybe it's your decision to walk away from a toxic job, relationship, or family dynamic. Write it down. Say it out loud. Own it. Because this isn't just a thought. It's your first act of liberation. And if this message confronted something deep in you, if it felt like it was spoken directly to your soul, then subscribe. Not for more content, but for a community of people who are done explaining themselves and are choosing to live from their truth instead. Because what comes next will change how you move through the world forever.